Hi, gorgeous, and welcome to the Confident, Energized, and Sexy Mama Show. I am Dorit Palvanov, your host, feminine energy expert, health coach for women, registered holistic nutritionist, and the creator of the groundbreaking health and mindset program for moms, Energized, designed for perimenopausal women who are done having kids and are ready to get their confidence, energy, and sexy back. Ladies, think about it. What would the world look like if, as women, we stopped being so harsh on ourselves and instead felt more energized, powerful, confident, and more connected to our bodies? What if, as women, we honored the fact that we are built and wired differently than men, and being different does not mean being inferior? That the go, go, go mentality, alongside doing more to have more without ever pausing and resting, only leads to chronic stress, anxiety, burnout, overwhelm, lack of joy, and corrodes our health, relationships, and vitality. What if, as women, wives, and mothers, we had the courage and confidence to desire more? More freedom, power, energy, joy, abundance, pleasure, fun, play, and sex, all on our own terms. Mama, you deserve to feel good. You deserve to form healthy relationships, and your body needs, craves, and deserves pleasure. This is your birthright. You're here because you believe in your feminine energy. You're here because you care about health and the environment, and you're not afraid to take action and change. You're here because you don't want to pass on a pattern of self destruction, hiding, and not speaking your truth to your daughters. You're here because you're done feeling stuck, living a mediocre life as a half woman. You're here because you are done struggling and, frankly, can no longer afford to feel like crap. Each week, I will be here for you, dropping a healthy dose of inspiration and motivation, as well as introducing you to my brilliant guests, where we will dive deep into all things womanhood, feminine power, energy, psychology, holistic and alternative health, food, nutrition, hormones, fitness, mindset, motherhood, relationships, sex, business, and much more. So, Mama, are you ready to take back control of your health? Let's do this. Hi, gorgeous. Welcome to another episode of the Confident, Energized, and Sexy Mama podcast. This is Dorit Palvanov, your host. Oh my, what had happened to the world in the last 3 weeks? Where I am recording this from, I live in Toronto, Canada. This is week 3 of quarantine. Our kids' school is closed. My gym is closed. Community centers are closed. The library is closed. And yeah, I assume that it's the same for you as well. It seems as though the entire world has been put on hold. And when I think about this a little bit deeper, because you know me, I like to go deep. It's almost as though God or some higher power have it's like, it's like when we parents, when we are upset with our kids, we kind of punish them and send them to their rooms. And so my husband and I, we had this conversation, and it feels to me as though God is really, really upset. And he just said, okay, everybody go back to your homes, go back to your rooms. You're all punished, and you need to figure some real serious things out. And what this is doing, it's putting a lot of the things that we've been all of us, each one of us knows that is a problem and an issue in our life, especially in our with our foundational relationships that we need to work on. And I believe this is the bigger message, if we think about it from a higher perspective, from a higher power. There is a lot of disconnect between our inner world, our external world, and how we view the world. I see a lot of people who are, and especially in my line of work, I work a lot with women who are very ambitious, who are successful business owners, who do really, really well at work, and they struggle in their marriages, they struggle in their parenting, and what's happening right now is all of this crap is being just pushed and thrown in their face. So this quarantining, right, this being in each other's faces all day long, 24/7, because a lot of us are now working from home. For me, for my husband and I, actually, this is not a huge change. We're just talking about how we found this meme on Facebook, and it goes like, when you find out that your current lifestyle is called quarantine. Because my husband and I, we both work from home. But still, having the freedom of, first of all, having the kids, in a program at school, and then being free to go out and do things. Obviously, we feel it too. But the point is that, a lot of this stuff is being thrown at our faces. And if our foundational relationships are not in order, then we suffer. We suffer immensely. I've just had a conversation with a beautiful mama who she had seen one of my posts on Facebook, and that post was about how women right now, especially now, we must raise our standards. There are a lot of women right now who struggle because their partners, their husbands, are not sharing the household load equally, and a lot of women find it very, very, very difficult. So much so that I can almost project, I can almost kind of predict that the consequence, and it's so unfortunate, it breaks my heart to say it, but you know it and I know it too, that and we're seeing it in China, by the way, who are coming out of quarantining right now. The consequence is going to be a huge increase in divorce rates, because these are the relationships that God is calling us to rise up to really challenge ourselves and to make us rise to, and to make better. And whether it is to ask for help, whether it is to, get yourself to read a book or to listen to podcasts or participate in a program, whatever it is that you need to do in order to raise your frequency and teach yourself some communication skills so that you can get your needs met, and so that you can get through this really difficult time together as a team, as opposed to being like opponents and being like competitors, right? And I've spoken about this many times on the podcast. When you're in a partnership, when you're in a marriage, it's not, and believe me, I've been through this as well. And sometimes, my husband and I kind of like go back and forth between living as a team and feeling like, being like little kids who blame each other constantly. It's like throwing the ball back and forth. The ball of responsibility, that's what I refer to. And thank goodness, it doesn't happen so much anymore, because, we both have worked immensely on each other, each one in our own experiences. We've raised our awareness, we've gathered some tools, and, it's work. It's work that we've
chosen to pay attention to, and we've chosen to invest, our time, our energy, our money into, because we value our relationship, we value our marriage. I personally believe, and you know this about me, I believe that the home is sacred. The health begins at home. The health begins with mom, and the health the health of the world begins at home. And so more than ever, this is really, really important to pay attention to and not to ignore, because if you are seeing, if those little things that used to bother you a little bit and they were just tickles, and now there are scratches and they are like painful. So for example, you may be seeing your partner not spending, in as much time with the kids as you expect. You may see your partner not, sharing the load in terms of like the household chores, the cleaning, the cooking, the laundry, the making sure that the household is working, right? That there is a sense of flow at home. You may be seeing that your husband is really, or at least in your experience, you may feel like your husband is being really, really selfish. One mama shared with me that she feels like her husband is only, preoccupied with his own needs. Like, he wants to work out, so he just goes to the basement and he works out. He, without even thinking that, oh wait, let me think about what my wife needs right now. Is there anything I can help with the kids, or maybe there's something I can do at home to share some of the load. And a lot of this, especially for high functioning women who are mostly working from their masculine energy, this is going to be painful. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If this triggers you, then I guess, you need to hear this. And I think this is a huge opportunity disguised as a curse, just like our menstrual cycle, by the way. But this is an opportunity. This is your opportunity to rise. This is your opportunity to really collect yourself. This is the time to, more than ever, to invest in coaching. I've been talking about this many, many, many times on the podcast. And in my conversations with women, there is a lot of kind of disbelief or kind of lack of trust in coaching. And I've just had a conversation with another mama who, when I was talking to, when she was sharing her pain with me, and her pain was around how she's struggling in her marriage as well. And when I offered her, I said, you know what, like, it looks like, you're doing really, really well. You just need some coaching. You just need somebody else's perspective. You just need someone to maybe ask you some questions to help you fine tune how your life flows, whether it's, with your own health, whether it is the flow that you're creating at home, whether it's the flow that you're creating at work, right? In order to have this sense of sustainability and ease and flow. And she told me, which did not surprise me, because a lot of high functioning women usually respond like that. And she said, I don't believe in coaching. I feel like it's not me who needs to get the coaching. I feel like it's my husband who needs it. And there's just this resistance. And so the question I asked her then is, sit with the question, sit with this resistance. What is it that you're resisting about coaching? What are you afraid that this coaching will make you do? How are you afraid to change? What things are you afraid that you will have to let go of, that deep inside are not serving you and your marriage? So in this particular case, this mama shared with me that she is she's a powerhouse. She's a very strong woman. She's always been. She's a gorgeous, tall woman. She she knows how to use her tools at home. Like, she uses the drill, and she's very strong. And it made her face the fact that she is so much in her masculine energy the majority of the time. So much so that she had taken unconsciously, of course, this is all done unconsciously. I'm not blaming anybody, but this is just, this is what happens. That she had taken his power away from him, his masculine power. And what she's really, really afraid of is to let go, to loosen it up. And that is, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, that is what she's been called for. And it's not easy. I'm not saying it's easy to do. But unless she learns how to be more in her feminine, how to, kind of like bring the duality between feminine energy and masculine energy into somewhat of a balance, then she will struggle. And it would be really unfortunate, because her mindset is already to leave. And she said that she's not dependent on him financially. Nothing is holding her, with him other than the kids, and that would be heartbreaking. But she feels like he is killing her, and this relationship is not serving her, and da 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 da. So the reason I'm sharing this with you is because I want you to be super aware of the fact that whatever it is that you are facing right now, if there is something really, really challenging in your marriage or in your parenting or in your relationship with yourself. So for example, you see yourself really self-loathing, having a very negative self-talk. I notice myself, now that we are cooped up in the house 24/7, I've noticed myself looking in the mirror way too much, and then obviously judging my body and being really unkind to myself. But I have the tools how to shift out of this state. I'm thinking, how do women who don't have the tools, I'm just imagining how their experience unfolds. And I know this is ugly. It is not pretty. Or women who are really, really disorganized and don't have the habit of planning and creating a daily flow and schedule and routines. Now is the time that all of this is going to be thrown in your face like like there is no tomorrow, right? And the stress and the chaos and the heartache and heartbreak that comes with it, I personally think it's such a huge waste of energy. And so, yes, for sure, if you now more than ever, you have the time. Now you don't have the excuse of, oh, I can't, I don't have the time for this. This is, this is luxury. This is nice to have. No, this is not nice to have. This is a necessity. Right now, it is a necessity. So I highly, highly encourage you to figure this out, because from what it seems, this is not going to end anytime soon. And I'm not saying this to be a Debbie Downer. From what I'm seeing, I'm looking at China, and I see that they've been quarantined for, I think it's 5 months now. And for us, it just started. And, medical professions are talking about second and third and maybe even fourth wave. And as you know, these things take time. And so we need to be smart, and we need to be realistic, and we need to be prepared. And so what I am suggesting for you is, I think most likely we need to be ready for the school year to not be back. I think we should even be prepared for being mostly home during the summertime, which sucks. I know. But, as smart and intelligent women, we need to be thinking ahead. We need to be planning ahead, and we need to be creating systems and structures so that our life flows, even in this really, really, really challenging times. And even now, it's important to remember that this too shall pass. This is temporary. But I know that now every day seems like a week. So, and it's normal. We all struggle with this. We all go this. We're all in this together. You are not alone. I'm in this as well. And I think there is beauty in the fact that we're all experiencing this together, right? There is this unity between, I think, all of humanity. It's like it's a global epidemic. And I think that God had sent this to us. Somebody said the other day that it's like a plague. It's one of the plagues. And it's true, because especially now, I'm recording this exactly a week before Passover. And if you're familiar with the Old Testament, Passover is the holiday where we celebrate the exit of the Jewish people, the Israelites, from Egypt. And this story, of how they went through the 10 plagues. And I'm just imagining, each one of the plagues lasted. It was probably like this epidemic. And imagine each one of the plagues lasting for 3, 4, 6 months at a time, and how challenging that was for them. Compared to us, we have our own houses and we have our own washrooms and bathrooms and our cozy beds and electricity and water. And imagine how it was for them, going through really, really difficult plagues. And there were 10 of them. And so somebody said that it's like a plague. It's one of the plagues. And so, yeah, which is why I believe that this is like a spiritual awakening that we're all called for. And I think we can do this. I think we would not be getting this challenge and this test unless God knows that we have the power in us to go through this. So I believe in you. I believe in myself. I believe in women. I believe in mothers. We can totally do this. And so that's my little intro. I know that we will go through this together. What I'm going to kind of throw out there, I am working on a 21-day Cultivate Florentine challenge, 21-day challenge, which I'm working on right now. And again, for me right now, my work day has been shrinked from 6 days into maybe an hour and a half, which is my daughter's nap time. So this is why, it all takes time to put together the technology and to write the copy and to make sure everything is working and linked up and all that. But I just want you to know that I'm working on this challenge, and what we are going to be doing together, I will be posting it over here at the podcast. It's going to be a short training, and then followed by an action task. And my goal is to keep these videos and recordings really, really short so that it doesn't consume too much of your time, but also to help you to begin the flow, right? To get into a habit of working and having your awareness daily geared at how can I create flow? What are those small things? And so we will be building up on top of each other. So that's one thing I want you to know that is coming up. Second thing is I'm very, very, very active on social media. So whether it's Facebook and Instagram, you can practically see how I share my quarantining experience. So if this is something that you want to follow along, then head on over to Instagram and find me at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. You can see my stories, you can see my posts. I post daily. And then also on Facebook, you can find me by Dorit Palvanov. Whatever it is, and no matter how you are choosing to show up right now, please know that you're not alone. We're in this together, and we can totally do this. And so right now, goal number 1 is to create some sense of flow. It doesn't have to be perfect, but find your flow, which I'm all about flow. Flow in your body, flow in your home, and flow at work. So that's that. And the third thing that I wanted to share with you is today's interview. So today you will hear my interview with a local colleague of mine. Her name is Chantel Anderson. And Chantel is a coach, she's a speaker, she's an author, she's a beautiful soul, mom of 5. Yes, mom of 5. And she just is, her energy is so contagious. Her smile is so amazing. I just love everything about her. I love her perspective. I love her soul. I love how God-centered she is. And I love her perspective on finding your core and finding and really healing from really difficult life challenges. And so I thought it's so fitting for all of us to hear her perspective and this interview together as a reminder that we can do hard things. We can do hard things. So without further ado, here is my interview with Chantel Anderson. Enjoy, love.
Hi, Chantel. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thank you for having me.
I'm super excited for this conversation. When I saw in your form that you wrote that you want to talk about the broken spirited mother, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so good. So good. I'm excited. I'm really excited for our conversation. So before we dive deep and we dive in today's topic, I always like to start with the story. So tell us how it all began, what led you to do this work with women. Let's start there and then we'll unfold it slowly.
Well, like so many other women, we are, growing up, we're taught to how to please others, right? In order to receive our dose of love, which is something we all need to survive. Okay. For me, it was all about my father's love. And unfortunately, parents separated and it left me chasing after, his love that he took with him when he left. A lot of the times, us women are experiencing childhood traumas, painful experiences between our peers, or relationships that we've had before we enter into motherhood. And each jab, each hardship, each trauma, each disappointment, what they do is like they just nip at our spirit, just nip at our spirit at time after time after time after time. And that's what happened to me, right? Thing is, you are, we, most of us, we can always get away with it for the longest period of time, right? You just tuck it, shove it underneath the rug. We don't deal with the pain that we have. It influences us and we're not really fully aware. But when you become a mother, okay, not only are you giving birth physically to this beautiful miracle of a child, but you're also giving birth to all of that spiritual crap that you've been tucking away, throwing in the closet, shoving underneath the rug. And that's exactly what happened to me. And it was a whole lot of stuff. You know, when they say you keep shoving it in the closet until one time you open the door and it all falls on top of you. Well, that was me.
You didn't even know that you had that, or
I didn't even know,
yeah.
Right? Because you're going through life, everything seems okay. It's subtle, but it's subtle, but it's not in your face. You think you can survive. It's working. I'm okay. I can go through the process. It's fine. I'll just forget about it and we're fine, right?
Yeah.
But it's slowly taking root and it's spreading its leaves and it's influencing you. And then the moment you give birth to this child, which is in itself so spiritually, the whole journey, like being pregnant and then going through the labor pains and giving birth, that already is spiritually. It also evokes so much of all the other stuff that you've been hiding away. And so that was me when I first had my child. It was a traumatic event in itself already because it was like a emergency C-section. I had planned to go and give birth naturally. I wasn't expecting that. And everything was quick, sudden. I felt like something was ripped from me. And I believe that was a trigger for a lot of other things that were soon to come. And so I suffered with postpartum depression. I had times where I wasn't eating, I wasn't bathing, I was barely taking care of my child. I would get horrible thoughts, of putting my child in danger. You know, um, throwing her over the balcony or putting her in the oven, or this is what postpartum is. I don't know
Yeah.
if for moms who do or don't, but it can start off as just being just down and depressed, and it can be as extreme as either hurting yourself or hurting others. You probably heard in the news or somewhere where a mom is in court because she did this to her child, or a mother committed suicide because she couldn't handle
Or she left
XYZ.
the baby in the car. Yeah.
Right, right. So that's what it was for me. I had postpartum depression. It was a time where, you would think you have family, friends to share this with. I was on my own. It was just me and my fiance at the time. Um, and even then things were tense between us. Financially, we were strained. We had a new child. Everything was just new. And so it was really hard, dealing with myself as a woman who was broken, right? And now everything, all the pieces that I was tucking away was just in my face. In a new marriage, having to deal with being a wife and what that means. And then, of course, knowing that I always had ambitions to do something more. How do I get myself to a place where I could even get to point A, right? Because we all think that the starting point is a starting point. It's not. You have to get yourself to the starting point. Um, and that's for me, I had a breaking moment where it was all or nothing. And I chose to fight for my chance to live and to fill my potential, because this can't be life for me. Does that make sense what I'm saying so far?
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Everything you just said, I'm like, oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
when you said, um, feeling fine through
Yeah.
adolescence, and then the moment you give birth to a child, so much crap is being
Yeah.
reawakened.
Yes.
For me, it really resonates,
Yeah.
because that's when I honestly was faced with someone I didn't know. I felt a huge clash, or split of identity. I really didn't
Yes.
know who I was, because I
Yeah.
always knew what I thought and who I thought I was. I knew and spoke of myself and thought of myself as confident and energized and
Yeah.
sensual and all those
Yeah.
things. And then, I become a mom and I am fearful all of a sudden. I
Yeah.
can't make decisions.
Yeah.
I don't like my body, and I struggle with like stupid habits.
Yeah.
Um, and it's like it's like a night and day. It's a night
Yeah.
and day. And in the midst of it all, and I have 3 daughters. I'm
Yeah.
supposed to be an example and set an
Yes.
example for them. And I'm like,
Yes.
ah, how am I
Exactly.
going to do that? Okay. So this is really interesting. As we are talking, I have this full body response. Um, let's dive a little bit deeper into how do you define a broken spirit? Because I know that it means different things to different people, uh, and I mean, both you and I are coaches, and we are in this place of the health industry. We know that there is no such thing as broken. Like, we are not broken, but I'm just curious, how did you define having a broken spirit for yourself at the time?
Okay, so a broken spirit is a spirit that has lost its will to thrive. Okay. What that looks like is, an individual who feels lost. They feel empty inside, but they don't understand what. Like, there's this void. It's somebody who is indecisive, can't make any decisions, doesn't know where they are or where they want to go. You'll find someone with a broken spirit will find that they're always isolating themselves. The
Mm.
feeling of the fear of being vulnerable just makes them so uncomfortable. All right, so they end up pushing themselves away from friends, family, loved ones. A broken spirit is someone who doesn't feel worthy enough to be loved. doesn't feel valued, low self-esteem, low confidence. Um, and what else could I say? Um, but yeah, that's pretty much. There's so much. There's so many more ways that it manifests.
Can you talk a little bit about this in the context of motherhood? Like,
Motherhood.
yeah, as moms, how would that, because I know you mentioned postpartum depression and all that, but in the context of like the day to day, I'll tell you why I asked this question, because for me, now that you're mentioning all those things, I'm like, oh my gosh, check, check, check. Like I had those things, but I didn't know that I
Right.
had them.
Right.
So maybe you can mention some things that happen to us as mothers,
Right.
just to help women self-identify and admit that they do have,
Or have that breakthrough.
yeah.
Have that breakthrough that, oh my gosh, this is what I'm suffering with.
Mm.
So day to day would be hard to get up, hard to do the simple things, right? They're lagging, they're pulling their feet. They feel as though, inside they weigh 1,000,000 tons and it's hard to get from point A to point B. So you're not doing the regular things that you normally do. You find yourself cutting angles all the time, just to be able to get a few things done. And a lot of the times it's yourself that you're cutting out of the picture, right? Um, you are fatigued, always tired, and you don't understand why. Why are you always tired? I got some sleep last night. Yes, being a mother has you doing 1,000,000 chores and, responsibilities, but you're not supposed, the constant fatigue is not, the chronic fatigue is not normal. What else does that look like? Overwhelmed, easily aggravated, upset, always snapping. Okay. It's just an overwhelm of stress. What else can that look like day to day?
Tell me, can you talk about why moms specifically are more prone to having a broken spirit?
Absolutely. See, here's the thing: women ourselves naturally are more bred than anybody else, any other sex, I guess, or other. Obviously, there's only. Well, anyways, let's not go there. Let's just say that we are bred to be people pleasers. Okay, nurturers. Okay, we're taught to give in order to receive. We're never taught how to be able to take care of ourselves or give ourselves what we need to thrive. So, these little, the way I like to say it is, it's like, imagine a tree being cut, 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 cut. The tree is still standing until that very last time it's cut, and then it falls over. And it's the same thing with women, right? So now here we are, we're going through all these traumatic events because we are giving of ourselves, everything that we have, to others for the sake or for the return of love. Does that make sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
And in doing that, we open ourselves to so many toxic situations, people, places, etc. Some it's more traumatic than, I shouldn't say traumatic, but some are more severe than others. Anyway, as you get older, most women are now having children and a family, and now that the person who you were to begin with, that's your foundation, but that has already been damaged. So now you are being pulled and extended to being a wife, taking on the role of a wife. You're being pulled and extended to being a mother, and you yourself have not fully healed from all of the traumatic events that have happened up until then. That makes sense? And so we have so many women between the ages of 30 and 40 who are experiencing high levels of depression. And for some women, it leads to suicide. Okay. So that extra, weight of marriage, of motherhood. And then on top of that, millennial women today still want to live their lives and to be successful and to fulfill their ambitions. That's another thing that you're stretching yourself to do. So, boop, you break. Like that tree that just got its last hit, you fall over and you don't understand how the hell you got here, where the hell you are, and where's the you that used to be. Where is that person? You're a shadow of yourself now. What needs to happen is we first need to heal ourselves, strengthen ourselves, so that we can, you know, be the wife that we want to be the mother that we want to be that professional, be that entrepreneur that we want to be, and really enjoy our life. You know, maybe 100, 200 years ago, you know, mothers were okay with giving up their life and living for their offspring and living for their husband, but not today, not the millennial woman.
Right.
I want to live my life.
Oh
Right?
my gosh, you and I are so aligned.
Yeah.
For me, like this is one of my the reasons why I do this work. For me, it's really all about sustainability, and sustainability specifically in the body, like how to feel confident, energized, and
Yes.
sexy in the body.
Yes.
Because I want to be successful in my journey as a woman, in my journey as a wife, and in my journey as a mother. And I want to like have a freaking amazing and thriving, you know, profitable business.
Yes.
And I know that it's possible to do all of those things.
Yes.
And then the how. Okay, so let's talk about the how. So you said what needs to happen before, you know, all those things occur is we need to heal the broken spirit. So can you walk us through maybe the steps that women need to go through, or the steps that you guide women to go through in order to heal what you call a broken spirit?
Well, healing is all about facing first all your traumatic events, painful experiences, all those things that have affected who you are today, right? Or the negative parts of who you are today. So it's just facing it and digging deeper, asking yourself why. You know, why did this happen? Why did this have this effect over me? Why? When you get deeper and you uncover uncover the levels, or get to the deeper levels, understanding begins to present itself. And when you understand, that's when you can begin to heal. And healing is really just breaking the connection that bad experience has over you. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
not so much that the situation happened, it's the connection. It's the way that it makes you feel that we need to let go. And that comes with understanding. But if you're too busy hiding everything, shoving it under the rug and pretending like it's not there, you're never going to get the healing that you need. And here's what happens. That pain, right, takes root in your spirit, and it begins to influence how you feel. Then it'll influence how you think. And of course, it'll influence your actions. And if it's fear, it's going to hold you back. If it's a pain that has you really angry, it's going to be angry thoughts all the time, angry actions all the time. If it's going to be a pain that makes you feel sad, then it's going to be, I'm always feeling sad. So I'm always thinking sad thoughts, and I'm always thinking sad actions. Does that make sense? Or sorry, carrying out sad actions. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And that's how it, but healing is where it starts. And then getting to know how you operate. How do you fill your own cup up? Because everybody's love is different. Love is not the same for everybody. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So I want to ask you this because I see this on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the antidote for a broken spirit is love. So, right? Correct?
Love is your spiritual food. It's what nourishes the spirit. Yes.
Right. And I love how on your website it says, master the art of love and quench your spiritual thirst.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, this is so freaking good, sister. So tell me about the truth, power, and the purpose of love.
Ooh, okay. Good question. Love that. Love that question. So food, okay, what it is that love is the definition of love. And here's the thing, not everybody knows the definition of love. So because they don't know, they allow a lot of things into their environment that are toxic, not good for them, very hurtful, painful, etc. down the line, and they continue to suffer because they don't understand what love is. Okay. And here's what love is. Love is the acts of care that provide your spirit with the necessary nutrients to grow and maintain its health. And that deep feeling that you get when you feel like you love somebody, like your child or your husband or whomever, whatever, that is actually the last stage of love. And it's presenting itself in a deep, strong emotion, letting you know that it's present. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm gonna put it in for a good example for a mom is you find out you conceive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you begin to put in those acts of care. You change your diet, you watch where you go, what you drink. You're not drinking alcohol anymore. You're creating a space in your home for this person, as well as a space in your heart for this person. You go through the labor pain, the pregnancy pains and aches. You go through the labor and you push it out, and oh my gosh, I love this. How could I just love this child so much? I've never met this child in my life. Well, you've been caring for that child. You've been putting in those acts of care and nourishing that child. And when that child comes, boom, that's when they're letting you know that love is present. That makes sense?
It does.
You
And
find in so many cases that there's a disconnect between the mother and the child. If you look back, there was something stressful that prevented that mother from providing those acts of care, and now this child is here and she has no connection. Isn't that insane?
it is.
And
That's what I was going to ask. What
yeah,
happens when a broken spirited mother raises a child whose spirit is still very much alive? What impact
so
does that have on that child?
you see, it's just like malnourished fruit. So the tree that is watered with, clean water, sunshine, all that great stuff, the fruit's going to have all this nourishment. And when you eat that fruit, you're going to receive the nourishment. But if this tree is growing and it has nothing but toxic water and crap soil and garbage all in the soil, that tree is not going to be able to produce the essential nutrients necessary to give that child or that person the full benefits of the nutrients. It's going to give it half. So what that would look like is, I love my mom. She did the best that she could, but she was always angry, and it affected me this way. I never felt loved. um I love my mom. She did the best that she could, but she was never emotionally available, so I suffered in that way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So when you're not filling yourself up, how can you fill up others? If you're not making sure that the nutrients that you provide are like healthy, then what you're giving to your children, your husband, is not healthy, right? So the old way of thinking, and I'm going to start a YouTube channel in the next month. It's going to called Motherhood Revamped. But
Mm.
so many women are still thinking that to be a great mom, a wife, runner of the house, that you have to put everybody else first. But that's wrong. You have to put yourself first, because when you put yourself first, you're happy, you're clear, you have direction, and what you're giving your husband is the best of you. What you're giving your children is the best of you, right? You're seeing angles and options that you probably wouldn't have seen before if you weren't in a healthy state. And so when you constantly sacrifice yourself and you're giving whatever you can to your husband and whatever you can to your children, they're not getting the best of you. You have to put yourself first. And to do that, it's like rewiring the brain, because we're taught to put others first from young, being women and naturally being nurturers. That makes sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So I see that in your work, you do a lot of spiritual work with women. How is this different than like religious um, practice? Like, can you talk about the difference? Because I think a lot of listeners would confuse spirituality with maybe religion. So, for example, for me, I am raised Jewish, and we do practice the Jewish lifestyle. And can I still practice something? Can I still ask for can I still work with someone like you, like yourself? Would that be in clash with my religious beliefs?
That's thank you so much for asking that, because that has come up from time to time. And it's just understanding what spirituality is versus what your spirit is. So when we talk about spirit, we're talking about the energy that you have that moves you, okay? Your inner self. When people say, oh, how am I feeling today? Sad. How am I feeling today? Angry. That's your spirit speaking, right? That's where all your feelings are. When we talk about spirituality, we're talking about moving energy, dealing with energy, people who manipulate it or use it for whatever else they're doing, religious purposes. But for me, it's nothing religious, it's nothing spiritual. I'm specifically dealing with your energy. Um, so and that's just, black and white, 1 + 1 = 2. So, I love to sing. Singing fills me up. It nourishes my spirit. So I make sure that I'm always singing on a regular basis. Do you see how
Yeah.
it's nothing magical? There's nothing mystical about it. I'm just teaching you how to influence your own set of feelings, because your feelings affect your thoughts and your thoughts affect your actions. So if you have complete control over the core, the thing that moves you and affects everything else, well, then you've just changed the game. Now you're leading your life instead of your life leading you.
And that is when we become confident, energized, and sexy.
Exactly. So it has nothing to do with religion. Anybody can do it. I'm not dealing with any other higher power. I'm just dealing with you and how you feel on the inside. That source, that energy that you naturally have. That's it.
I love it so much. And and obviously, the sooner you embrace and admit that there is a problem, and the sooner you ask for help, the less time you will spend suffering, and your entire household, because we know that as moms, we are the really everything in the home revolves around us.
Right.
And so, yeah, I've seen it firsthand, how my daughters, my husband, how they were just not how I wanted my family to be.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah, I can definitely, I mean, I would probably be I've done a lot of work. I never even thought defining it as a spiritual work, but I guess it was. I've worked with coaches, I've worked with healers, I've worked with shamans, like with many different modalities, and it was motherhood that triggered all of it for me.
Yep. 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 And that's what it was for me. And you know what? It was the hardest place to be. I by myself, alone, in the dark, in my mind, torturing myself.
Yes.
And when I got out of it, oh my goodness, I'm just like, listen, if I can help anybody be able to either avoid that pit or get out of that pit, that is my life's mission.
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing that. So the second part, as we're transitioning into the second part of the interview, it's really designed to allow me and the listeners, it's like a window into you as a woman, as a wife, and as a mother. So if you're okay with that,
Yeah,
we're going to shift
definitely.
into that. Okay. So the questions here are supposed to be short. The answers to these questions are supposed to be short and concise. So do your best. It's okay if you, if you have to stretch it a little longer. All right. So my first question is, what is your definition of feminine power?
Ooh, girl. Definition of feminine power. The ability to influence. That's the role that we play in all of our loved ones' lives, your husband, your children, your friends, family. The power to influence, I would say. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big one. All right. So, second question. As you know, this show is all about inspiring mothers to own their power and feel more
Mm-hmm.
confident, energized, and sexy as women, wives, and mothers. And I like to call it being a goddess in their life. So, I'm curious to know, how are you being a goddess in your own life? How do you take care of yourself, your soul, your body? What are some of your no negotiables?
Non-negotiables. Okay, so definitely my environment is huge. Your environment's like your garden, right? You can't have toxic and weeds, things like that in it. So for me, authentic people, most definitely. I need to feel like I can be transparent. I need to feel like I can fly and soar with you around. Um, so people who are authentic, I keep in my circle, and then I in two have to be able to be authentic with you. That's a non-negotiable. Um, I definitely have to have my me time. My husband knows that. Okay. So, weekends, he'll make the breakfast. Um, he'll make the breakfast on the weekends. He'll take care of the lunch. He'll take the children out, whatever. Monday to Friday, I have the children of course, we have some together time in the evenings, but I definitely have to have my me time and time to reflect, have gratitude, and correct. So to make sure that I'm always evolving to the next best level of me, it means to like be aware of what I have been doing, what has worked for me, what's not working for me, understand why I was doing that so I can let it go and then implement some new things that will continue to serve me on a higher level. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
My next question is, what advice does your now mom self would have given to your pre-mom self?
Get help.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm just a little bit about that. Just get help, get guidance in anything that we do. If you want to learn to be a doctor, if you want to learn to be a lawyer, if you want to learn how to sing, if you want to learn how to piano, whatever, anything you want to do, you always surround yourself by people who know how to get you there. Motherhood does not come naturally as much as people want you to want to make you think. So when you want to, if you're like passionate and you want to be the best mom, and you want to be healthy, you want to live your life, you want to do these things, and find people who can help to guide you to do that, because it is torturous when you are trying to navigate through all that crap all on your own, and everybody else is suffering just as you are. So get help.
Yeah. All right, next question. I like to keep it real and show listeners that even though someone is an expert in one area, they might be struggling with other things. So, what are some of your current challenges as a woman, wife, or mother?
I like this question because I think sometimes when people think that other people aren't human, so to speak, that they're masters at everything, it hinders them from asking for help.
Yeah.
Um, what do I struggle with? What do I struggle with? Time management. That will always be a struggle of mine. And allow placing my values on the things that other people influence. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
I like to teach that you should only build your values on the things that you influence and that has no other influence on anybody else. Because when you give the influence to someone else, you're giving power away to somebody else. But there's so many levels and new ways and deeper ways to apply that lesson. And I find that to the very core, I still have some things that I would like to just have for myself. And I'm still giving where I feel like it's probably not in my best interest to do that.
Yeah, which is why you do this work.
Yes, which is why I do this work. Yes.
Yeah, we teach what we need to learn the most. That's
Right?
how it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true. Okay. My next question. The mother-daughter dynamic comes up a lot in my practice. Not every
Mhm.
woman is a mother, but every woman is a daughter. So I'm curious to know, how do you think your relationship with your mom helped to shape who you are today?
Oh, she gave me my drive. She definitely gave me my ambition. I think my mother was a broken spirited. No, my mother was a broken spirited mother. So there were things that she wasn't able to give me, and then there was things that she did. And the things that she did, I was super good at. So ambition, taking initiative, and really being thorough with my actions. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I talked about this on a podcast before, but my mom, I mean, now that, using your terminology, my mom was also broken spirited. And a big part of it was because she really didn't understand herself. So I understand how that feels.
Yeah. Let's
All right.
break the cycle.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Let's break the cycle.
Right. I also am very careful, not judging her, because from my personal the way my life trajectory was, and my mom's too, is that we had to immigrate twice.
Ooh, that's
So,
tough.
and that's tough. It
That's
really
tough.
is. And so I have the privilege of, safety. And I mean, no one is really, 100% safe and secure, but I mean, we live in Canada now, and
Yeah. Yeah.
we can kind of, grow and learn, and we have the privilege of doing that. My mom didn't have that. She didn't know the language, and she had to learn brand new language
Oh,
twice.
yeah.
It's a big
Definitely.
thing. It's a big thing. But still, there are women who I know who have been through the same kind of journey that, we did. And they were women who just achieved, and they were just more confident. They were just, they had more goals.
Yeah.
um,
It's the, yeah. Go
and
ahead.
and I
Go
yeah,
ahead.
and I just really deeply longed for that kind of relationship, for that kind of mom.
Right.
And then I learned that that mother that I longed to have is really the mother that I am.
Yeah.
And how to tap into that, and how to bring her forth more, how to embrace more of her, how to be more confident in that. Oh my gosh, it's a journey.
Yeah.
It's still unfolding. It's still
Awareness will be
unfolding.
your best friend in order to help you bring that out. Awareness 100%. And there's no judgment at all, because at the end of the day, like, you it is what it is. This is what you were exposed to. This is who you became, and that's just it, so definitely no judgment towards your mom at all.
Yeah.
I used to yearn for, my mom wasn't very emotionally available, and I used to yearn for that connection, and I find myself doing that with my own children now. I'm super, like, nurturing and all that kind of good stuff, with balance, of course. But there's no judgment to my mom. She did the
Mhm.
best that she could, right? And that this is just what it is. This is just what her experiences have given her. That's it.
All right, my next set of questions are kind of fun. So
Yeah.
what makes you feel confident?
What makes me feel confident?
Yeah.
Um, I'm very confident in my ability to communicate, for sure. Um, yeah, I'll say that.
Okay.
Does that answer? Did I answer the
Yeah,
question?
yeah, absolutely. What makes you feel energized?
Singing. I
Ooh.
love to sing. Just recently, I entered a competition, and I won first place and won $500, and it was really exciting.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Yeah, I remember I've seen one of your videos where you're singing.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was actually last year, and it was a
Yeah.
testimony to how much I've grown, because I was singing in before and didn't have much confidence in myself, and I went on Canadian Idol, and
Wow.
I made it to the TV portion where they air it live, and I froze, right? I froze. I wasn't filled up enough, but and that was just before my journey started, with the work that I do. And then now I go on stage and I dominated. I'm just like, wow, like
That's
that's difference
amazing.
that I made. That's how far my healing has taken me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What makes you feel sexy?
Ooh. Um, what makes me feel sexy? I like to look at myself in the mirror. Like, yeah. After taking a shower, I look at wow, look at you. Just seeing how my body has changed. Yeah. Yeah.
Love that. Love, love, love. All right, my last question in one sentence. What is your vision for your life? What are
Mm.
you creating? What is your life's purpose?
Uh so um for me, I envision, my potential being filled with no ceilings in sight. Okay. I want to expand and help as many women as I can. And however that ends up looking, I'm gonna allow it to look. I'm gonna just allow it to look. Um and what did you say? You said, what do I envision seeing for myself and what else?
Yeah, what are you creating? What is your life's purpose?
So, and that's what I'm at the moment, that's what I'm creating. So it's just, I have a few programs that are coming out. I have a YouTube channel that's starting soon, a podcast in springtime. And My purpose is to, I believe I'm a healer. And because I've healed through so much, and being able to help other people heal, mothers heal, women heal, really this message can be for anybody, but I'm focused on mom, as I am a mom. That really fills up my cup, and I feel aligned, and I feel in my power and in my purpose is when I'm helping other people heal.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Chantel, you are amazing. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Before I let you go, can you share how can people find you online, how they can connect with you? Now is the time for that.
Okay, so I predominantly work out of Facebook, which is how you found me. And I'm on Instagram. Not very much. I do have a website, chantelanderson.com, which is getting a facelift. I'm so excited for that. And I said Instagram, right? And I'm also on
Yeah.
LinkedIn. On Instagram, I'm Chantel Anderson without the O at the end of Anderson.
Mm.
And then on LinkedIn, it's just Chantel Anderson.
Yeah, and I have all the links in the show notes. And then you said
Perfect.
your YouTube channel is going to be called Motherhood Revamped.
Motherhood Revamped.
Love it so much. That's amazing. Is this also the name for the podcast?
It is.
See?
You
I know how
guessed
you're
it.
thinking.
You
I
guessed
love
it.
it. Chantel, it's been so much fun. It was, oh my gosh, it was kind of like a healing session for me too.
Oh,
Thank you
wow.
so much for the work that you do. We are local, so we should definitely connect.
I'm
I
on
would
board.
love to spend more time with you and learn from you and absorb everything that, from you. And I would love to bring more value to you, to your work, to everything to your purpose. So
Perfect.
thank you so much for saying yes. And I'll connect with you soon.
No problem. All the best. Thank you so much.
Wait, before you go, I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if you did, I want to know about it. So snap a picture of you listening to this episode and share it on Instagram or Facebook. On Instagram, you can tag me at Dorit Palvanov Coaching. So Dorit is spelled as Dorit and Palvanov spelled as Palvanov Coaching. So it's all one word. Or you can use the hashtag confident, energized, and sexy mama podcast. You see, my personal goal beyond having amazing conversations with guests or hosting solo episodes is to increase the visibility for this platform and these messages to be shared and heard by women who need it the most. And there's no way that I can do this on my own. So I'm asking you, the incredible community of confident, energized, and sexy mamas, to help me with this goal. So whether you're coming to me through iTunes, Stitcher, Spotify, wherever you're listening to the show from, please rate, review, and subscribe to the show. This would mean the world to me, and it's so helpful for other mothers who are looking for this information. So thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.